everyone, welcome back to Love and Life Sorted. I'm Dr. Sandy Toe, and today we're going to be talking about giving love a chance. Yeah, so what inspired this topic is some recent amazing news that I heard from my Instagram follower, my Instagram friend, Swati from Texas. Yeah, she recently got engaged to her fiance, Ayush, whom she met on an Indian matrimonial app called Shadi.com. Huge congratulations to them both. This news made my day. I was so psyched to hear about it that I had to ask her about some details. So at first, when Swati and Ayush connected on Shadi.com, they didn't hit it off instantly. They hadn't connected after their first call for 4 weeks. Yeah, so all this time spent apart. Well, I guess initially they had a good impression, but they didn't pursue it. And during these 4 weeks, they went off to do their own thing, and Swati went back to India. And then after she came back, she went on Instagram, and they connected on Instagram. So they saw each other's posts. First of all, well, they added each other, and then they saw like their daily lives and learned more about their interests and their hobbies and their values. And then they started chatting, and then Ayush took the initiative to actually ask Swati questions about like the music she loves, about her dancing. Yeah, so she's an avid dancer and writer. And Ayush would initially he thought that, wow, this gorgeous, bubbly and multi-talented girl, would he be interested in someone like me? Like, he's more reserved and he's more like focused on his work. Mind you, he's an accomplished doctor. Yeah, so he's a doctor and she is an accomplished engineer. And on paper, yeah, they looked like a good match, but it didn't instantly ignite a spark that they didn't pursue it on the first go. But later they actually reconnected on Instagram, and they gradually developed an interest in each other, and they found that their interests and values aligned too. Yeah, so after reconnecting on Instagram for a while and chatting back and forth, they finally met up. And they spent a lot of time together, going to dinner and then just chatting a lot and getting to know each other. And, gradually, like, the love developed from there. And it was just, like, so natural that they thought that they were a right match for each other. And within a month, they got engaged. Yeah, so I'm so happy for them. And this is such an uplifting story that teaches us not to give up on the first go. Yeah, especially when, you may not feel the spark after the initial call. And a lot of people, it's like during this time, they would just, swipe away, swipe to the next one, find someone else, look at another profile, and just like discard this person just because they didn't feel an initial spark. And you may have missed out on something beautiful if you had not given it another chance. I'm sure that not only just Swati, but it's very common nowadays to meet on a dating app. Yeah, but the thing is, what happens next, right? So you initially, you would have swiped, or you would have pressed yes, or you would have made a call with someone who you thought like had the credentials that you liked on paper, right? The criteria that you liked. And then what happens next, right? You would have to like hop on a call or maybe do some messaging and then figure out if you have a connection or not, or if you have like any chemistry or something, right? Like testing the waters. And I think that a lot of people at this initial stage, after like hopping onto a call, they might not instantly connect, and that's perfectly normal because come on, this is a stranger that you have never met before in your life, like talking to them for the first time. So chances are you wouldn't feel like an instant connection, right? It's actually abnormal to instantly like connect really soon with a total stranger. It's not like meeting through several gatherings, like mutual friends, or you met in school, like you knew this person gradually, right? It's like someone who's completely foreign to you, right? So I wouldn't actually think that you would have any romantic spark through the phone, right? Or like through messaging. Yeah, and this is the point where a lot of people may give up, right? Like, especially maybe people who don't have a lot of experience in dating. They probably like watched a lot of rom-coms, and they thought that the connection is instant, and that's like that's where you pursue the relationship. That's a sign that you should pursue the relationship, but otherwise it's like a fail. You would think, well, this person has no spark at all, and so I'm just gonna swipe next. Especially nowadays, it's so easy to swipe next, right? It's so convenient for you. But have you thought that you may have missed out on a lot of real connections that could have been built if you hadn't immediately, like, given up on this one? Okay, so I have to tell you a story of mine. Okay, so when I was in university, I remember, okay, we didn't have those dating apps, but we had something called MSN, right? Like people from my generation, they would have heard about it. It's like on the computer. It's not even on the phone. It's like not an app or anything. It's like a chat service. It's like a step up from ICQ. Yeah, so it's called MSN, and everyone had it installed on their computers to procrastinate. So it's either like people at work or people at school. So like they would, they couldn't help but chat with people. It could be friends, and it could be strangers too. Like people can like I think strangers can pop up on your MSN, or your friends would have exchanged maybe like yours or someone else's with other people. So yeah, it was like really common to have like to chat on MSN with strangers. And if you had met someone at class back then in uni, you would exchange like MSN profiles or something like that. Yeah, so it's like Instagram, except you don't see photos or anything, but like you get to like chat with them instantly. Yeah, it's like instant chat, right? So everyone does it. And I remember that like I had chatted with some people that I met in class, or you know, just throughout campus or something. Like maybe sometimes we have these groups doing projects in class, but you don't know them that well, right, in person. But you got assigned to a group or something, and you needed to chat to do a project together, right? So that was like one of the avenues which you can chat like through MSN. And I remember like sometimes like those chats, like sometimes like they would extend like through the night or something, and then I don't know, like you chat about all these random things like into the night, right? And but mind you, like you've only met this person in like face to face for maybe 3 times, and you've never chatted that much in person in class, right? So afterwards, like the next day, you would meet this person in class, and then you would be so embarrassed. Like both of us would feel a bit awkward and embarrassed because you had just chatted like throughout the night for a few hours into the night, and then you're seeing each other for the first time, having not talked that much ever in person, right? So it's like you already know like a lot of intimate details of this person without getting to know them, you know? So the feeling is really awkward. I remember like feeling really embarrassed, and you sort of want to just block them on MSN the next time you see them. Yeah, and it was like relatively common to like be invisible. Yeah, there was like this thing that you can be invisible. And you can see who's on there, but you can hide yourself. Yeah, so like I remember doing this like several times, and I was like getting tired of it and thinking, what is the philosophy behind this? Like chatting a lot without seeing this person, without knowing this person. So what are we actually hiding behind, right? Okay, so I think that this might be the same feeling that people have on dating apps today. Yeah, so before you agreed to meet up, I think that you probably showed mutual interest in a person, and then you guys would chat a bit online first before deciding whether you meet up, right? So during that process, I think it's exactly the same as back then using instant chat, where like without knowing this person at all, you sort of inadvertently disclosed a lot of personal details and feelings and, intimate details about yourself, and that you otherwise wouldn't immediately reveal if you had met this person for a coffee. Yeah, so this is how people are, right? Like if you don't meet up, you have this mystery upon you, like you're hiding behind a veil, and you just feel more emboldened to reveal more than you should. Yeah, but like say that if you had met this person for a coffee face to face, I'm sure that you wouldn't be revealing all of these details and chatting for 3 hours. You would have taken it slowly. Yeah, to get to know each other first before you revealed so many intimate details about yourself or your thoughts and feelings. Like these things are really intimate, right? It's not something that you go around revealing to strangers that you never met before. It's things that only your closest friends know about you, right? So that is the difference between slow burn and instant passion. Yeah, so under normal circumstances, the most healthy thing is to let the relationship grow. Yeah, it's supposed to like grow on you, right? And like the spark should have been slowly ignited gradually instead of like, wow, like just blowing up in your face and getting yourself burnt. Right? So any like sort of intense passion is not healthy. So yeah, I'm really proud of Swati for having the wisdom to have taken it slow and then realizing that it's not the instant spark that she should be pursuing, and instead it should be the slow burn, like getting to know her fiance online first, like through Instagram, and like trying to see if you have shared interests, and trying to gauge this person's values and thoughts, like if they post quite often, and seeing like what their daily life is and seeing how you can relate to it, right? So like it's really wise that she took the time to really like do her investigation, let's say, like do her discovery, instead of giving up immediately. So yeah, she didn't feel the spark immediately after the first call, and come on, like it's a complete stranger who would, I think. And so, but she didn't give up, and especially when at first it looked as though they didn't have very similar personalities, because Swati was so outgoing and just so cheerful and fun loving and had a million different interests, and Ayush was so reserved and so serious and like really immersed in his work, right? And so it didn't look like they had a lot in common. But eventually, after chatting on Instagram, chatting about their interests, their shared love of music, and Swati felt that it was so easy to open up to this really chill and nice guy. And, he brought out the best of her, like a more chill and softer side that she really liked about herself. Yeah, and I think that Swati also, brought out the fun-loving side of Ayush as well. Yeah, like she made him have fun, and now they can have fun together. And so their personalities, which seemingly were not similar, seemed to complement each other, actually. It brought out the best of themselves. And so, yeah, that was why it worked out eventually in the end. And they wouldn't have known if they hadn't spent the time to get to know each other. This really reminded me of me and my husband's courtship as well. For me and my husband, we also started out this way. We met through friends. It was like my friend's brother's friends, right? So he was my friend's brother's friend. And then we came out as a group because my friend wanted to introduce me to this guy. Yeah, so we came out as a group first, and of course, like there was good impression. Like he was so polite and so friendly and so attentive and so chivalrous. Yeah. So yeah, I'm like old fashioned. Like I like chivalry in a guy. Yeah, I'm so chivalrous and everything. And then later he even took me home. Yeah, so good impression, throughout. And but we didn't have like a lot of chance to chat on our own except for the way home, which was really which was really near. So it was like a 10-minute drive away. There wasn't much that could be said, but yeah, he asked for my number, and then we texted. And then I remember we did actually come out on our solo date. Yeah, so just us. Over a pretext of something, I remember saying something that I had to go on a Switzerland trip with my parents. And I wanted to ask him for some advice because he had been to those places before. Yeah, something related to Wi-Fi or something. Yeah, so yeah, and he is quite the technology expert. Yeah, so I remember I had to ask him for some advice, and then it was by this pretext that we came out to have dinner together. Yeah, but after the dinner, yeah, okay, so throughout the dinner we had a really good chat, and it was the dinner that lasted 4 hours until 11 p.m. when the restaurant closed. So, yeah, obviously we had much to chat about, and we had a lot of compatibility and everything. But, it wasn't enough to like be wow, ignite such a romantic spark that we couldn't keep our eyes off of each other, sort of thing. Yeah, it's like not in the rom-coms, right? So, yeah, I'd say that we had an amazing chat, but it was still not enough to immediately like get together or something, right? So after that dinner, I remember we went off, we went off for a few weeks. I think it was like another few weeks, but we had texted consistently on the phone like every day, and we would talk about our day and everything. Yeah, back then I didn't have Instagram. I think there was Instagram, but I didn't have it. Yeah. It wasn't that common, or I wasn't on there. So yeah, we didn't really like see pictures of each other or anything, but we texted for consistently for a few weeks. Yeah, like very much like Swati, right? And so afterwards, I think like this sort of developed like through the texting, like through the getting to know. It was our form of getting to know each other through daily life. Yeah, so we would talk about like our day, how it was, but not getting into it like MSN, like not chatting like hours on end, like into the night, like chatting about intimate thoughts. It wasn't like that. Yeah, like I had enough of that, like being burnt by that. So like no more of that for me. I've learned my lesson throughout uni. Okay, so yeah, I didn't want this to turn out awkward. So like I vowed like never to share my intimate thoughts with someone who I've only seen for like 2 times, okay, in person. So it's like really, really not healthy. Yeah, so with my husband, like we were taking it slow and gradually trying to know each other, to gauge each other's commonalities and values and everything through just simple, lighthearted texting every day. Yeah, so through that, our relationship, relationship, slowly developed over the few weeks. Yeah, and then one day, I remember my husband, he texted something like, that there's an ice skating rink in like a shopping mall, but there's something going on there. Something like that, yeah. But yeah, he didn't say, "Oh, do you want to go ice skating?" Yeah, he didn't actually say that, but I could feel that like he wanted to get to something. So I just sort of made the suggestion for him. I said, come on, you can do better than that. How about a movie for a change? Yeah, I still remember texting that. And then he said he immediately caught up to it and he said, oh, great. Like, there's actually a new movie on this weekend. Do you want to go see it? And I said, yeah. And that's when we came out over the weekend. And that day was the day that we had got together. Yeah, it just came so naturally because like over those several weeks of getting to know each other organically and unforcedly, we slowly developed something without us knowing. Like there was this slow burn sort of affiliation that we established under our very noses, like without us knowing, right? Mysteriously. And that was like the most natural thing of all. And so by the time that we had decided to come out again to see each other, it was the time that everything came together. Yeah, so I through my example, Swati's example, I really just want to let everyone know that it's so important to have things like slowly develop and to not give up immediately when you feel that there's no instant attraction or there's no immediate spark or it's not love at first sight. Yeah, like it doesn't happen that way for normal relationships. And, to not give up on it and to give love a chance to grow, to give the relationship a chance to grow, to give the friendship a chance to grow, right? And, to nurture it. And then when the time comes, it'll blossom. Yeah, like the beautiful flower will blossom. It will come into full bloom when the time is right. So not forcing it to open before the time is ripe. Yeah, so remember my MSN story whenever like you feel the urge to to expedite things because it'll not go well. Like when something happens too fast and like someone is overly enthusiastic, you may be like blinded by all the heat. Like it may be, false passion. Like if someone, is too pursuing you with too much enthusiasm, you might, have the false notion that, wow, this is love or something before it's even ready, or you haven't even gotten to know this person properly, and then you fell into this relationship without it being suitable. Yeah, so sometimes that happens too when things happen too rashly. You might get sucked into something that wasn't entirely suitable for you in the first place, but because you hadn't let the chance for it to grow on you, or for you to gauge whether it's suitable, or you to figure out if there are enough commonalities or your values aligned. You didn't give yourself a chance to figure it out and to do some discovery on this person, right? And then you just fell into it because this person was like pursuing you too ardently that you just couldn't say no. Yeah, some people also experience this. And it's like the opposite case of slow burn, right? So this instant gratification thing, which is never good because, yeah, it would not end well if something happened too rashly before you had a chance to consider it, to deliberate whether it's suitable for you. And then you would get burnt really badly in the end when you do figure out, after jumping into it. Because after you jump into this heated, passionate affair, like you would have invested a lot of emotion and love and your heart. You threw everything into it, and then to figure out slowly the other way that it didn't work. It unraveled in front of your eyes. That is the most painful. Yeah, I think like people have experienced this before all the time. Like in the heat of the moment, you say yes to things that you shouldn't, or you say yes to things that you haven't considered properly, haven't given the time to figure out, because the other person was probably like too overwhelming. They threw you into it and you couldn't say no. Like it happens all the time, especially when we're young and rash, right? And we just feel a lot of fantasy. We fantasize about the perfect relationship, and we just want to get to that quickly, right? Like, we don't want to wait. And so, we get ourselves into trouble and a lot of heartache when we do figure out that this person is not right for us. So in order to prevent this heartache, especially when we grow older, there's not that much capacity for this, like as I was saying in my other episode about don't give up on love. Yeah. Because like a lot of people get so disillusioned about love, about failed relationship attempts, that they just give up because it's too painful, right, to continue. And like they just don't have the heart to carry on anymore. So, I was saying you should shield yourself from a lot of hurt and misery if you deliberate more before you jump into anything. And what Swati did was just really rational and very wise. She took the time to do her discovery of this person, her and her fiance as well. Yeah, they were super wise about that, super intelligent about that. And then, it came the time that everything came together when they finally realized that they have a lot of commonalities and they're the right person for each other. It took weeks and weeks, didn't it? Yeah, but finally, when the time comes, it'll come. Yeah. It's so beautiful. Yeah, I'm so happy for her. And then, she really inspired me to talk about this, and it'll benefit so many people, I think. Yeah, in Chinese, we always say like the best relationship, the most sustainable long-term relationship is one that is like a slow burn. Like you gradually develop the feelings and the love, which will last forever, as opposed to like something that's instantly like gratifying, like immediate passion that will just burn you alive. Yeah, like the spark has to develop and grow and be nurtured instead of just like wham, like burning really brightly in the first instant. It'll just quickly blow out, right? When the spark is like super, super strong, it'll blow out really quick. So it should be like the other way around, like a healthy, sustainable, long-term relationship that has long-lasting quality should be like a slow burn, yeah, instead of an instant passion. Yeah, and love, between a couple, it really should grow over time. It's like a wine that should be slowly ripened to perfection. Yeah, so it'll just grow, like the love will grow, your affection for each other will grow. That is just much more timeless than overwhelming passion. So remember, next time when you go on a dating website or an app, or you're introduced by friends to someone, remember to take it slow. And, after the initial meeting or the initial chat, remember that it should actually be quite foreign, and it should not carry any like intimate implications, or it should not actually be having like immense romantic spark, because like I think that is a red flag in itself. Like you don't know what the you don't know the agenda of the other person if they're like forcing it or rushing it. Okay, so like remember, it's perfectly normal, and it should be that way. Meeting a stranger for the first time, that all you should be developing is good impressions of each other. Yeah, whether this person is annoying, is impolite, has character flaw, or is really sloppy. Like these are the only things that you should be gauging at that first meeting. If those surface qualities don't match your expectations, you're not happy with them, then okay, no more second meeting or no more second chat, right? Yeah, but okay, if all goes well, then, the only feeling you should have at that initial encounter should actually just be, having a good impression, whether or not you want to do another chat or you want to get to know this person more. Yeah, but it should not be like some deep romantic revelation or anything. Remember that. Yeah, remember it's not healthy. It's a red flag. All you need is a good impression, and then you can you can start from there slowly, and then you do your own investigation, you do your own digging, do your own discovery on social media, which is so common now. Come on. Like, I think most people have something where you can get your hands on, lay your eyes on. Ask for each other's IG, or ask for each other's Facebook, or LinkedIn, I don't know, or something. Then try to see if you have the right vibe, and try to like chat, but remember, not the deep emotional MSN chat that I had before, right? So just, some normal day-to-day texting, trying to see like each other's daily lives and those things. Try to keep it casual, and yet enough to keep contact, to gauge the possibility, right? Like, it. Right. So remember, like, the initial encounter, not romantic, should not be romantic, but do not discount it. Yeah. So the important thing is, do not discount this meeting, and like, do not overlook this meeting, and do not give up on this meeting or this person just because you didn't feel anything. Yeah, come on, you're not supposed to feel anything yet. Come on, it's like so early days. Yeah, so remember, don't give up, and to give love a chance. Give love a chance to, give the friendship a chance to grow. Give the relationship a chance to grow and to blossom. And when the time is right, it will amount to something. Yeah, just like Swati, who just got engaged. Okay, so thank you so much for this uplifting story of Swati. And Ayush, congratulations again. And remember to take inspiration from it, and don't give up on your initial encounter. Remember to give a chance for it to grow. Okay, so you never know where it'll lead, like maybe to somewhere unexpected, or maybe like to a relationship or an engagement, and it's really up to you, if you don't give up. Thank you so much for being here, and remember to subscribe to Love and Life Sorted so you don't miss an episode. And if you want to continue our chat outside of the podcast on partner choices and relationships, remember to subscribe to my newsletter. If you want to see more fun stuff, hop onto our Instagram page and follow us on Instagram. And I'll see you again next week. Bye!